as at 3 p.m., that is now, YIAGA Africa had heard from watching the vote observers at 278 out of the 300 sampled polling units. Now, I'm sharing our preliminary findings. Firstly, improvement in the management of election logistics. YIAGA Africa notes the improvement in the arrival time and setup of polling units. As at 7:30 a.m., YIAGA Africa reported that INEC officials had arrived in 77% of the polling units. In Allege community in Allege local government area with 5 polling units, INEC officials only deployed to 2 polling units. This led to late commencement of polls as members of the community insisted that voting would not commence until the materials and personnel for the outstanding 3 polling units were deployed. YIAGA Africa escalated this incident to INEC and the issue was resolved at 12:15 p.m. Voting and accreditation is ongoing now in the community. As predicted in the YIAGA Africa pre-election observation report, armed political thugs made attempts to disrupt elections in some polling units. YIAGA Africa received and verified a critical incident in Ijomu, Ward 4, polling unit 7 in Akure at St. Stephen's Anglican Primary School, where a suspected thug attempting to disrupt the election was stabbed by another rival thug. Sporadic gunshots by unknown armed men also occurred in Allege, Ward 9, Unit 007, Akure North local government area. YIAGA Africa calls on INEC to 1. As the voting process comes to an end, ensure that the ballots are counted openly and that all polling units have the Form EC60E posted at the polling unit for the public. 2. To ensure that the polling unit results sheet, that's the Form EC8A, for each polling is uploaded on the INEC results viewing portal and also post information on polling units where elections did not hold or results were cancelled. 3. To ensure strict compliance with the application of the election guidelines in the result collation process. Now, to the security agencies, YIAGA Africa calls on them to ensure that the security personnel remain professional and non-partisan throughout the election. Also to ensure that effective security is provided as collation commences, and that accredited voters and media reporters are granted access to observe the collation process.
So that I can highlight those local, I know SLDO is there, like 2 wards of SLDO is there. Rain seriously affected the deployment in several local governments. There were instances where the voting has already commenced, but they were disrupted by the rain, and this compromised the secrecy of the vote, the ability to even implement social distancing in some areas. And in this case, we cited Owo, Oshe, Akoko South, and Akure North as an example. But also, we want to highlight the positive, that it is heartwarming that in some instances, voters insisted on continuing with the exercise in spite of the rain. We want to call on the security agents to ensure that they deploy appropriately enough personnel to protect INEC staff, their personnel during the period of collation, which is the most important period itself. And INEC also to ensure that there is speedy transmission of those results, particularly on those platforms, which allows for more credibility to be infused into the process. We start by highlighting the positive, to talk of places where people have actually pushed back against the anomaly of vote buying. So our observers documented incidences in Idonre, Ward 3, PU 6, also in Ward 8, PU 1, 2, and 3, and Ward 5, PU 1. In all those cases, voters insisted they wished to vote for person of their choice. There were attempts by the political gladiators in these instances to outspend the order. So one is offering 5,000, the other one goes to offer 7,000, and in particular, spending more in their own stronghold, not to lose votes. Like those local, I know Ondo is there, like 2 wards is